Hi everyone, welcome back to GameMaker Cast. It's Mickey, and in this video tutorial, we're going to be working on the space shooter. In particular, we're going to get our particle system up and running to create a nice Starfield. Let's roll the introduction and get right into it. In the previous episode, we could move left and right. We also have a boost and we are able to fire off some bullets. Now, our background is pretty plain, so let's change that. Inside our room initialization the startup here, inside the create event, if we expand this, the instance that we're looking for is this object Starfield. This is what we're going to be editing today. So we can middle click or we can search it up and we will have a create event and a destroy event, and they are both empty. But basically this is going to be responsible for our particle system. So what I want to have happen is our particle system is going to take the entire coverage of our viewport. So in order to do that, let's find the instance camera, which is set up in our room. And then what I want to do is I want to set up a particle system. What we need to do is set up a particle system and store in a variable called PS. The next thing we're doing is setting the depth of our particle system, and that's just so that the particle system will be behind our player. Now, for our particle system to work, we also need a particle emitter. So this is where the particles are going to come from. With the emitter, we have to define the size and shape. So for example, with the particle system and the particle emitter, we are going to use the location. We are going to use the X size of 0 and then the maximum width of our camera. So that's our viewport. And then we're just going to go off the screen to the top here. We're going to be using a rectangle as a shape, and the distribution at this point, because things are going to be falling down, doesn't really matter. So you could have whatever you want here as a distribution. Now that we have our system and our emitter, we have to set the actual particle itself. So we will be creating a particle type. We are going to be assigning it this particle Starfield sprite, and you can see it's just a little square here. We have the alpha set to 0.7, which is 70%. We are saying choose a color between light gray and dark gray. Our direction is 270 degrees, and GameMaker, that is straight down. The life of each particle is going to be 500 frames. The speed of each particle is going to be randomized between 5 and 10, and the size will be also randomized between 0.5 and 1. So this is going to be a percentage based on the sprite itself. So if it's 0.5, it's going to be a smaller rectangle instead of 4. Now the next thing we need to do is actually tell it to stream our particles. And we can do this by accessing the emitter stream function, passing in the particle system, the particle emitter, and then the particle type. We're using -1 in this case because we want it to be random. We don't always want a particle to be streamed. There's a very high chance that it will be streamed, but in the off chance it may miss a frame or two, and that will just give us a nice Starfield effect. Now, dealing with particle systems, we need to clear out the memory ourselves. So that means that when we destroy this object Starfield, we need to destroy the particle type, the emitter attached to the particle system, and then the particle system itself. And all we're doing here is freeing up memory. Now, when we run our game, we'll have a nice Starfield effect. However, there's one problem. All the particles start at the top of our game instead of all over. So what we need to do is randomize the particles here and just ask them to start ahead of time. So we'll go over to the create event, and what we can do right here after we tell it to stream, we could use a repeat function, and we are saying repeat 1000 ticks and then update that particle system. So now when I run my game, the particles are already going to be on the screen and beyond our player. If you find that 1000 doesn't work very well, you could increase to something like 2000 and it shouldn't slow down your game at all. Now we have our ship moving and it actually looks like it's flying through space. We can move left and right. We have the ability to shoot and dodge. So I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching the video. If you like what you see and want to show some support, smash that like button. Check out my Patreon page for more ways to support me. And talking about Patreon, a special shout out to the following users: Mary, Robert, GameMaker Community, Ken, Ashby, Victor, Paul, and David. Once again, thank you all for watching.